Have you ever looked at someone's life and wished it were yours? A bigger house. Beautiful clothes. Money that never seems to run out. From the outside, everything can look perfect. But what if that perfect life hides a terrifying secret? Today's African tale reminds us that envy can blind us to the truth. And sometimes, the things we desire are the very things that would destroy us. Stay until the end, because this story takes a shocking turn that no one in the village expected. In a peaceful village surrounded by rolling green hills and ancient baobab trees lived two women. One was named Amina, a hard-working widow who lived in a small mud house with her two children. Every morning before sunrise, Amina walked several kilometers to gather firewood and sell vegetables in the market. Life was difficult. Some days she barely earned enough to buy food. Yet every evening, songs of gratitude floated from her tiny home. Her children laughed. Neighbors admired her kindness. Just across the narrow path stood a magnificent house belonging to Zawadi. Unlike Amina's humble home, Zawadi's compound had painted walls, expensive furniture, goats, cows, chickens, and servants. She never seemed to struggle. Every market day she wore colorful fabrics and sparkling jewelry. People whispered, "She's the richest woman in the village." Whenever Amina looked at that grand house, a quiet jealousy grew inside her heart. If only I had her life, she often sighed. If only my children never had to suffer. Every evening she watched servants carrying baskets of food inside Zawadi's house. She imagined delicious feasts. She imagined comfort. She imagined happiness. Little did she know. No one inside that house ever slept peacefully. One night, as the moon hung low over the village, Amina was awakened by something strange. A chilling scream. It came from Zawadi's compound. She sat upright. Then silence. She wondered if someone had fallen ill. The next morning, Zawadi smiled as though nothing had happened. She laughed in the marketplace. She greeted everyone warmly. No one mentioned the scream. Amina convinced herself she had imagined it. But the following night, it happened again. Long, desperate cries echoed through the darkness. Then heavy footsteps. Then complete silence. Night after night. Always after midnight. Always from the wealthy woman's house. The villagers acted as if they heard nothing. Some closed their windows. Others hurried indoors before sunset. No one dared ask questions. The mystery consumed Amina. One afternoon she asked an elderly woman, "Have you ever heard strange sounds from Zawadi's house?" The old woman froze. Her smile disappeared. Without answering, she walked away. Amina's curiosity only grew stronger. One evening she decided to discover the truth. After putting her children to bed, she quietly slipped outside. The moonlight guided her towards Zawadi's compound. She hid behind a large mango tree. Everything was silent. Minutes passed. Then midnight arrived. Suddenly, the wine stopped. Even the insects became quiet. Amina felt goosebumps cover her skin. The front door slowly creaked open. What she saw made her heart pound. Zawadi stepped outside carrying a lantern. But she wasn't alone. Behind her walked dark shadowy figures. They had no faces. Their movements were unnatural. They seemed to glide instead of walking. Amina covered her mouth to stop herself from screaming. The shadows surrounded Zawadi. One by one they whispered words she could not understand. Then, they began pointing toward the house. Inside, another scream echoed. A scream filled with unbearable pain. Amina's hands trembled. She wanted to run. But fear kept her frozen. Then one shadow suddenly turned. It pointed directly toward the mango tree. Toward Amina. Its empty face somehow knew she was watching. The lantern extinguished. Everything became dark. Amina ran faster than she had ever run before. She did not stop until she reached home. She locked every door. She prayed until sunrise. The next day, Zawadi looked tired. Her eyes were swollen. Her smile seemed forced. As she passed Amina, she quietly whispered, "You should never watch what belongs to the night." Then she continued walking. Amina felt cold all over. How did Zawadi know? She had been hiding. No one should have seen her. Days later, an elderly traveler arrived in the village. He listened carefully as Amina described what she had witnessed. The old man sighed deeply. Then he revealed a story few people remembered. Years earlier, Zawadi had been extremely poor. Desperate to escape poverty, she had accepted wealth from mysterious spirits living deep within the forbidden forest. The bargain was simple. She would receive riches beyond imagination. But every night, the spirits would return to collect part of her peace. No matter how much money she owned, she would never know happiness again. She would never sleep peacefully. Every night she would relive terror. Every night the debt would grow. And if she ever refused, everything she loved would disappear forever. For the first time, Amina understood. The beautiful house was not a blessing. It was a prison. The fine clothes hid fear. The smiling face hid endless suffering. She returned home and hugged her children tightly. That evening they shared a simple meal of maize porridge. It was unmuch, but laughter filled the room. For the first time, Amina realized she possessed something greater than wealth. She had peace. She had freedom. She had love. Across the path, Zawadi sat alone inside her grand mansion. As darkness covered the village, the screams began once more. This time, Amina did not envy her. Instead, she quietly whispered a prayer for her neighbor. Years passed. Amina continued working honestly. Her children grew into successful adults who cared for her with love and respect. Her small house slowly became larger through hard work. Not overnight. Not by magic, but through patience and determination. As for Zawadi, her riches slowly disappeared. The servants left. The livestock died. The grand house crumbled. Only the terrifying screams remained until one silent night. They suddenly stopped forever. The villagers never saw Zawadi again. Some believe the spirits finally collected their last payment. Others say she simply disappeared into the forest. No one knows the truth. But everyone remembered the lesson. Never envy a life you do not truly understand. Because every smiling face carries a story that outsiders cannot see. True wealth is not measured by gold, beautiful houses, or expensive clothes. True wealth is measured by peace, family, honesty, and a heart free from fear. If this story taught you something valuable, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who believes the grass is always greener on the other side. Subscribe to African Tarantulas for more unforgettable African tales filled with wisdom, mystery, and life-changing lessons. Until our next story. Remember, not everything that shines is gold, and not every wealthy person sleeps peacefully. Thank you for watching.